Welcome back to the Always Aggressive podcast. Corey Palm, Tanner Lipset, Coach Tony Ersland, and Devin Schroder joining us this week. D-Schroder, good to have you. Thanks for carving out a half hour for us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
We've got plenty to get to with Devin, including that hat he's wearing, which my wife is gonna just adore. Before we get to Devin, we've got some really exciting stuff to talk about off the top, Coach. I know without getting into too much specifics, because there's some things you can talk about and there's some things you can't.
Sure.
Scheduling for the 2020-2021 season. That's a mouthful right there. You guys are finally in talks for that, and some exciting stuff coming out of Rosemont.
Yeah, as you said, there's a lot to be figured out yet in terms of specifics, but there's definitely a framework and a timeline, and so we're all very excited that we're having those talks in earnest. You know what I mean? Those are real talks with real timelines and real plans. So very excited. I thought we had a productive call the other day, and things are trending in the right way. Now, obviously, we'll see how things go. Fluid, as we've discussed many times, is kind of the word of the year here. So it's still fluid, but just to be having those talks, with our coaches in the Big Ten as well as the administrators, it's got us excited. So we definitely, the season starts October 10, right? So Saturday officially starts what we call our 20-hour weeks, where we can really be on the mat and going hard. We're going to gear up. It'll still be a little different because we're not looking at competing until January. So that it'll still be a little different feel to it. But just to have your season started, right, to hit that date where you get the green light has me really excited for the week.
Devin, how does that make you, you're hearing this stuff about, coaches and people talking about wrestling. We're going to wrestle. Like, what is that from a student athlete perspective? How does that make you, what does that do to you?
Yeah, no, it gets me really excited. It's been forever since we've been able to consistently be on the mat a bunch, so the 20 hours a week, and getting on the mat consistently, we guys are really excited. I'm excited to be able to just be around the team more and be in the room on a consistent basis. So, no, it's really exciting stuff.
A lot of details still to work out, and like Coach said, a lot of preliminary talks, a lot of stuff that's in generalities, but it's just exciting to talk about wrestling, actual, putting together a schedule and actual matches and opponents and stuff like that. It's been too long since we talked about that stuff.
Yeah, we've been in like this lull forever, ever since March, just an area of like unknown. So anything that's like leading in a positive direction is just good to hear.
Now we haven't got to wrestle. There's still a lot of wrestling going on across the country. Coach, we've talked a little bit about this on past shows, but it's always a great topic. This past weekend we had Who's Number One down in Austin, Texas. We had the Grappler Fall Classic, which is originally from Schroder's homeland of the great state of pure Michigan, yeah. But they moved it down to Myrtle Beach. There's so much talent out there. And I getting to watch some of these kids compete, Coach, like what is your takeaway? What did you take away from this last weekend and getting to watch some of these kids compete?
Well, I think you just said it. I mean, there's so much talent. I mean, it's really impressive about where the sport has gone. The access that these young men have now to coaching and to video and to just, all this different training aids that make you better. Clearly they're taking advantage of it. With clinicians and coaches and events and being able to push themselves and test themselves. And I was really impressed between both events when you talk about Who's Number One, the high level of wrestling, and not just from a technical aspect, but from an execution aspect. Those kids, their mat awareness and their technical skills are really something to watch. It's kind of interesting to see the evolution of the sport and where it continues to go. So it has us excited, for the talent that's coming up through the ranks. And I would say the same thing for GFC. Now that was a little bit more of a grind. There was a lot of matches that took place over 2 days. So it was a little different than Who's Number One, where there was a match or two for the guys. But man, overall, you got to say there's just a lot of talent out there. And even beyond that, like the mindset at which these kids compete is what really has me excited, and I talk to a lot of these guys, obviously, when you're recruiting. And so it's not just they go out there and they perform at a high level. When you talk to them and say, hey, give me your thoughts on a match, and they'll come back with, these things where they still need to be better. You know what I mean? So there's guys that are really focused on their goals just beyond that match, and they're picking their performance apart and finding those little ways to get better. That's where I'm impressed with. It'd be really easy to come out and say, yeah, I felt great, I won. You know what I mean? It was a good match. But, there's these guys, they'll pick it apart, and they have great insights into where they're at. So that awareness is what has me really excited too, because it's one thing to have the ability, but then it's another to have that mindset, which is going to allow you to move up through the levels and have success.
Coach preaches that a lot, Devin, and would love to hear kind of your thoughts as far as he talks about it's not about winning and losing. He talks about, wrestling at your highest level and your best ability. And to hear him talk this way about young guys that we're hoping to bring into this program, what does it do to you, and what do you think about the fact that we're hoping to bring in some young men that already have that mindset, that already are trending in that direction?
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes in the high school level, you get guys that just pick and choose when they want to wrestle. You don't. It's not much of a force or schedule to go out there and compete. So when you see guys that just go out there and compete on their own and going out to tournaments and just worried about competing and having fun and rankings and stuff, it's always a good sign, especially when they do that at a younger age. It shows maturity and stuff too. So it's good seeing the high numbers, especially at a younger age in high school.
It's been awesome to talk to a lot of these young men, Tony, and then to have opportunities to watch them compete. It's going to be a crazy month of wrestling here on the high school scene. With it's Columbus Day duels this weekend. You've got Super 32 coming up. You've got a variety of other. There's another all-star type meet in Pennsylvania here in a couple weeks. So it's been really in the absence of us being able to get ready for competitions here in the next month, being able to follow these young guys and what they're doing has been really exciting.
Yeah, the one thing I'll follow up on too, I think Devin made a great point. It's kids who seek competition and aren't worried about the ranking, right? Trying to protect a ranking, because clearly when you get to college, and especially in the Big Ten, every week is another tough opponent. So you can't be worried about protecting something, mythical. Your journey is to the national championship, and that's what you're trying to get to. And you'll see a lot of these guys that competed this weekend, even at Who's Number One or GFC, and they'll be down at Super 32 again in those really deep brackets. So that's what I really love to see. Kids who don't pick and choose, to use Devin's kind of language. They're out there competing hard and laying it all on the line, weekly. So fun to see.
Absolutely. So let's get to the guest of honor here. Devin, representing your home state with the cap, as Corey said, from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Going into your senior year, what has your Purdue journey been like?
It's been a long one. I think I was trying to think how long ago I committed to Purdue, and I think it was 2015. So it's been almost, I think by the time I leave, it'll be 6.5 years since I've been committed to the school and stuff. So it's been a long journey, and I'm excited for the senior year still. Excited to get going. I'm glad that stuff is starting to get rolling. But I'm grateful for the time that I've spent here. It's been great. I've grown a lot since I've got on campus, just as a young man. On maturity and wrestling aside, just as a person, it's been a great experience, and I'm excited to continue. It's not over yet, so excited to cap it off.
You talked about committing to Purdue. Pretty interesting scenario in the fact that one of your former teammates, Nate Limix, you guys went to high school together, and he was already at Purdue. How did that factor into your decision to come here?
Yeah, I've known Nate since we were little kids. We used to travel together, I want to say 7, 8, 9 years old. So, and he's always just been super hard worker, quiet kid, works his butt off, super nice, great family. So I've always had super high respect for Nate. And as someone who's a little younger than him, I've always looked up to him as a leader. So he has great values just as a person too, wrestling aside. So when he committed to Purdue, I was younger than him, so I wasn't even really talking to Purdue. But once they reached out, I was I trusted Nate's values and what he thought about Purdue, especially he's a smart kid, and we both studied engineering. so it's worked out well. It's actually my older cousin went to Purdue as well, just to study, and so my mom went to visit her, and so I had like a Purdue wrestling shirt when I was like 12 years old. So I still have that shirt. So it's kind of cool looking back at that too, just as a family and stuff. So I already had some Purdue blood in me before. So with that and Nate, is just a perfect fit.
Coach, what was it like discovering Devin?
I put on a lot of miles going to Michigan early on in my career here at Purdue, running Nate down and then going back up there to see Devin. And we still obviously spend a lot of time in Michigan. We love the Michigan kids and what they're doing. But, and I remember it was the middle of the winter. We went up again and visited when Devin, when he committed. And so it was great to have a really strong commit, early on to help build that class. And if you look at what that class is now, clearly, tremendous, right? A lot of talent and just guys who, again, have helped lay the foundation for what we're doing, like Nate, Dylan Leidy, Christian Bruner have done. These guys have all been a part of that. So really grateful. But, we spent a lot of time in Michigan getting to know Devin and his family and have enjoyed it every step of the way. Like he said, where he started and where he's kind of at now, he's come a long ways. And so that transformation is what I really enjoy about college. The wins and the losses are part of it, but what you really enjoy is you like seeing these guys kind of, transform themselves where they're going to be for the rest of their lives. So, and clearly this guy's an engineering major. And so he's going to do just fine when he's out of here, whenever that is.
Well, one thing, Coach, you talk about spending a lot of time and there's a lot of miles to Michigan, but it's relatively close. I don't think a lot of folks who the further away you get from Purdue, the less you realize how close it is to, Devin, we're what, 3.5 hours from home for you? If your family and friends want to come down for a duel, they can. It's not a bad drive at all, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have family come down for weekend duels. It's drivable in one day for sure. It's about, depending on the traffic, 3 to 3.5. It's not bad. And because Purdue isn't like a state name like Michigan or Indiana, some people don't realize how close it is, especially being Northwest Indiana. But Purdue's closer than a lot of the state schools and for me. So, yeah, it's really close.
What is it about these Michigan wrestlers, Devin? Nate, we've got a ton of young guys we're talking to that we really love that are from pure Michigan. What is it about you guys?
Yeah, no, Michigan's a gritty state. It's we're tough. It's one of the best wrestling states in the country, and they always turn out good talent. Midwest state just Michigan bred, pure Michigan.
And the thing is, they've got some really committed people too. Obviously the kids are doing the load of the work, right? They're the ones really putting in the time. But I will give a plug to the coaches up there. They've got some really committed coaches that are making sure these kids are exposed to training and then the events, the competition too. So not to be forgotten, those guys are really putting in the time too.
100%. Very exciting stuff. Devin, you have 100% emerged as one of the best top guys in the country and one of the best top guys in program history. How did you get into top wrestling? What made it kind of your thing?
Yeah, so when I was a little kid, I want to say 8 or 9, my dad used to take a Team Michigan team down to Disney Duels, and they just got wrecked on top by these PA kids. And I was a film guy, so I had like a big like VHS recorder, and so my dad took the film and just like made DVDs, and he like came up with drills, and I was like 8, 9, and he just had me drilling them over and over every day, and ended up getting pretty good at them. And then so I was going to high school, and then I came here, and Schopp, it was like one of those PA guys that we actually like would study and stuff. So it's kind of weird how it worked out. One of the guys I'd study in high school and middle school growing up to get good on top and ended up being one of my coaches. So then it's only evolved since then and gotten any better. So just worked out perfectly. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that works out, but.
It is. I didn't know that about your history with AJ, and then getting Coach Schopp here. That's pretty cool.
That's one of my favorite stories. Let me jump in here. A couple of years ago, we had you on a podcast with AJ, I think, And he didn't know that story either. You told that
Yeah.
story then, and he was like, wow, that's pretty gratifying to hear. It's one of my all-time favorite stories, man. That's so cool.
Very serendipitous. Is that am I using that correctly?
That's
Corey?
yes.
Serendipitous, man. Word of the day. Nice
Word of
job.
the day.
Dynamite drop in.
Hey, I had, we had to bring it back. We had to bring back the word of the day.
Love it.
Devin, how does that, you look at the way you wrestle and how you wrestle, and how has that reputation kind of changed the way you approach matches? And how is that, you go into these things and these guys know, like, I can't let this dude get on top. And if I do let him get on top, like, I gotta, oh man, like, what am I going to do? Like, how does that change your approach? How does that change how you wrestle guys?
Yeah, for sure. I never look at like going to matches where like I have to get on top or else I can't win. It's always just builds confidence, almost like a safety background where if I'm on top, it just gives me a better chance to winning. But yeah, a lot of times people won't choose down, and it's almost like a little bit of like I deserve that. It's it's a little bit of like satisfying, like they know, like everyone knows. So yeah, it's awesome little tool. You're always in matches. Sometimes you're able to put matches away pretty fast, and you're always within one tilt, one move, takedown to a tilt will put you way ahead, or can pull you back in matches. So it's an awesome tool to have, and it's paid off all those drills and since I was 8 and studying shop. So
Tony, what's it like coaching the top guys?
No, it's fun having a guy who's that dangerous from top. I mean, the match I go to thinking about too is like the Barnett match at Wisconsin where he was down significantly early, right, and pulls himself right back in. That 4-point near fall really does wonders for this guy. So, but he's come a long ways too in his feet, and you hear his confidence. He's like, it's just another way. He knows that he can win, without being on top. But hey, he put himself there. And I'd say what's made him even more dangerous is the fact that he's improved in his hand fighting and his feet, and he still has to get better. I mean, that's my goals for him is being able to keep his hand fighting pace maybe a little higher to get to some more attacks, but. He's come a long ways there, and I think that's a big deal for him now, where it's not just top, man. He knows he can go get a takedown or out scramble a guy, and then turn and distance himself from people. So that's where I really feel good about where his wrestling has gone.
The Barnett match is a cool thing you brought up there, Tony. Devin, you had a fun opportunity earlier this summer to do a segment with the BTN where you got to watch that match with Shane Sparks. And break it down and talk through your positions and your mentality in that. We'll reference that and share that again. But what was that experience like to get to go back and watch that match where you're down by 8 points in the first period?
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. It was cool overall. It was like the first 3 minutes, like, oh no, I don't want to
relive this.
Yeah, but no, it was a cool experience. People talk to Shane and go over it and really think about the match and talk out loud. I think that's just a valuable tool to have, honestly, just being aware of your own thoughts during matches and thinking about how your own mindset can improve. So just being able to do that on your own and then doing it out loud is not only a cool experience, but I just think important and valuable as an athlete to be aware of your own thoughts, like in the middle of your matches.
We talked about Schopp a little bit and what he's brought to the table for you. We've also brought in another lightweight coach for you here recently that has had a pretty good impact on you. Tell us about Coach Vega and 3-time All-American at Minnesota. Obviously a very different stylistic type of wrestler than Coach Schopp, and maybe even from you. What has his impact been for you in the room?
Yeah, no, Vega's the man. Vega's been huge, as Ersland was talking about. I've gotten a lot better on my feet, and a lot of that is because of Vega. I work with Schopp and Vega a lot all the time. Vega's really big on hand fighting, and Schopp is just really big in different ways to attack. So just seeing both of them and wrestling with both of them is awesome. I know Vega would do anything for me, whether it's wrestle till he can't breathe anymore or whatever.
So like 30, 45 seconds?
Yeah, he would do anything. Just knowing that having a guy like in there with his accolades and experience is awesome, and especially not only having one 3-time All-American, but having two 3-time lightweight All-Americans is just awesome to be able to have that in the room. If one's busy, another guy is always there to go to. So the duo between those two, they match up well. And Vegas helped me a lot on my feet and just in all aspects of mentality-wise and wrestling a lot since he's gotten here. So
Can you imagine a better place for a lightweight to train in the country right now?
no, exactly. The growth I've had not only the past year, but just since I've gotten here, just attribute a lot of that to them, for sure.
You've mentioned mentality a couple times. I think it's fascinating too to watch, sort of the way your career has developed. You came in and, a lot of success early, but last year's when you really sort of took a jump into being in the top 10 every week, knocking on the door of the top 5 in the country, Big Ten finalist. I think it's safe to say, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but safe to say you're the hunted now instead of being the hunter. How does that change your mentality and the way you have to approach things in training, on the mat, all around?
Yeah, my mentality has changed a lot since I've gotten to college, but I wouldn't say as much as the hunty or hunter. Is more of just like having fun and relaxing and competing hard. I think since for sure I've wrestled my whole life, and originally people get into wrestling and it's just for fun, like they're little kids and they go out. And the goal when you step on the mat every time is just to wrestle to the best of your ability. And you do that by just not worrying about what's going on or how big the stage is. Obviously college, Big Ten, wrestling the Big Ten is the biggest stage there is. So the stakes don't get any higher, but thinking about that is going to get any better. So I've tried to think adjust my thinking a lot just towards the pureness of the sport of just being able to compete and let it fly. And I think that's helped me a lot. Just be ready when I step out there. Especially, I've thought about that a lot. Going into my last year, my senior year, you don't know how many chances you're gonna have left. The pandemic is a perfect example of that. You don't know how many you have left, so just be grateful. And I've thought a lot about just making everything of the time I have left. So I think about that, just competing hard more than being hunted or hunting specifically.
You talk about being a senior, Devin, and it's been really fun to watch the last few months as you're really establishing yourself as a leader in the program and being a senior, finding your voice a little bit more. You've traditionally been a guy who's led by example, and you do the right things and you work hard and so on and so forth. But you have, just to say it again, you kind of found your voice. Mm-hmm. And you're accepting a lot of responsibility as far as these young guys and trying to teach them the right way and trying to teach them the right things. How has that journey been for you, and what has motivated you to speak up and speak out?
Yeah, I've had a lot of great leaders come before me, and so I attribute that to a lot of the older guys that I came in here with. And there's like you said, there's different type of leaders. There's leaders that lead by example. Leaders that are a little more vocal. So I try to take bits and pieces from all the guys that have been around me. And we talk a lot about leadership. So I think just implementing and talking about culture and leadership a lot just over the years has really just been great. And I think I've grown a lot since I've gotten here as a leader. And I think you're just starting to see it more in our program. Just guys speak out and it just drives the culture and the change, and that's what you're seeing our program become to. So just growing as leader over time, I think, is what it's become to. And finally, I've stepped into the role, and I'm excited to where I am now and where it's taken me for this journey. So.
Tony, I'd love to hear you weigh on this as well. What has it been like to watch Devin grow in that way?
No, it's been fun. Like you said, it's that transformation of these guys that you watch, and there's just numerous examples, right? I mean, we talked a lot about Bruner and even Leidy, and Devin's just another piece of that. He's kind of watched and grown as the program's grown. And I think when we talk to recruits, I talk about kind of the culmination of laying the foundation and the mindset and the work ethic and where we're at now and what the goals now have become, right? Because there's another next set of goals. It's not just climbing. It's okay. Hey, now it's top 4 in the country. It's team trophies. It's national champion. So it's that evolution. And I think he's just a perfect example of that evolution. It's a big deal for us. He mentioned it. We talk about leadership all the time. And I really believe that these guys are the ones who set that tone. I mean, yes, as coaches, we're here to guide and mentor, but these guys are with each other, almost 24 hours a day. They're sitting around the campfire at night or, when we're not there after practice. And so the discussions that they have and the mentality that they talk about and the goals and the excitement that they carry, that's your program. I mean, to me, that's your program. And so it's good to see, right? He's kind of next up, and he's taken that and started running with it. And my hope is that the young guys, they're smart enough to watch some of these other guys in the program too, and pick it up even quicker. Don't let it wait until you're a junior, senior, right? You can have leadership as a sophomore or whatever. So yeah, it's fun to see, and I appreciate what these guys do because they have the pulse of the team. You know what I mean? And they'll help me out if we got to make adjustments or something's going on. Let me know, and I'll do whatever I can. So yeah, it's been fun, and it's something you can't ever sleep on, though, right? Like you just can't assume it happens because Devin's figured it out. If you think, well, we got this figured out, you're going to find yourself going backwards. So it's a constant thing that you never forget about or take for granted.
Devin, you've talked about taking a role with some of these young guys. Any of the young guys in particular that you're excited about? They're up and coming. They're new to this, but they've got a bright future.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of young guys that are going to break out. Not in particular. I think there's going to be some surprise guys. Just a lot of hard workers, gritty guys. So I think once I spend some more time with them, I'll get a better grip of them. But I'm already seeing bright things from being around them. And I think once I leave this place, whenever that is, the team will still be in good hands. So for sure.
That's what we like to hear.
Well, I like whenever that is too, because I'm trying
I do too,
as long as I can. So that's good from that standpoint.
Absolutely.
I like how you dodged the question. You might have a future in politics, actually, because I mean, you gave a great answer, but you didn't really give an answer there, brother.
He's a politician, man. He's shaking hands and kissing babies.
It's good leadership.
Yes, yeah, he knows how to play the
I love
room.
them all, Coach. They're all great.
They're all great.
They're all great.
Even the knuckleheads.
Even the knuckleheads. Devin, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Your excellence on the mat is, seen by everybody. Your excellence in the classroom is something to be admired as well. You chose a tough sport, and you chose a tough major. You're in your 5th year of chemical engineering. Is that correct?
Industrial.
Apologies. Industrial engineering. I mean, whatever. It's still way above.
It's still engineering.
Hey, it's still smarter than me. How's the academic journey been for you?
Yeah. No, it's been tough for sure. Some semesters depends how the classes go, but it's been really tough. I've done stuff like night before Big Tens. I've had to take a proctored exam before. Just stuff like that, taking stuff on the road. But the professors and the academic support here is awesome. I don't think I'd be able to do it without them. So they really help with really whatever you need. They work with you really well. So that's what's really made it possible. And it's going to be tough. I mean, in engineering, especially at prestigious engineering school like Purdue, it's tough, but definitely worth the time I've put in. You got to be real disciplined. It's definitely tough, but the support here is like amazing, unparalleled. So they helped me out a lot, and it's definitely part of the reason why I've been able to go forward with everything. So
I got confused. Nate's the chemical engineer. Yeah. I got my two Michigan guys a little mixed up there, so apologies for that. You have already been able to transfer some of that into some life experience. You had a pretty cool internship this summer. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Marathon Petroleum reached out to the athletic department here at Purdue and said they're looking for just some student athletes to come work for them this summer and be an intern. So I was put in touch with Marathon Petroleum, and that was just purely based off the connection that Purdue has, and they were seeking Purdue athletes specifically. So that just shows the connection and the
value.
That Purdue has with the outside world and Purdue athletes specific. So I was over in Findlay, Ohio, a little town, and it was awesome. Got to work for Marathon. I got to work with a little high school over there. It was awesome. Got in touch with great people. They took care of me, and it was really just a great experience. So I'm really thankful for the opportunity that Purdue Athletics set me up with, and the people over there that were taking care of me. So,
what kind of stuff are you doing?
I was working under the environmental department, so I was doing all sorts of stuff. I got to go out and work on the tank field. So I had a hard hat, some work boots, and I worked in the office as well. So I was working with environmental and then safety and regulation. So I was working with a few different departments. But yeah, I was spread out. A lot of people did a lot of like tank emission calculations and stuff like that. So it was a pretty cool experience, and I'm really grateful for it.
That's cool.
Tony, how hard was it to let one of your All-Americans go for the summer? You know, obviously an amazing opportunity, couldn't turn it down. From a coaching perspective, you know, you want to keep them close, but you know.
Yep. No, it was hard.
There's a lot going on.
It was hard, man. I'm greedy, right? Like I'm really greedy. I want them all the time. You know, I want all my guys all the time, getting better where you can see them. But I think, you know, you're at where you are at peace with it is, you know, it's a great opportunity, right, for him, for his life. And then you trust, you know, where he's at in terms of his goals and his commitment to the sport. And those are the things that I fell back on with him. It's like, hey, okay, just put yourself in a good position to train while you're there. You know, let me know if you need something, but put yourself in positions to still grow and get better within your sport. And I've been around him a long time, and I trust him. And like I said, I know where his commitment is and what his goals are, and then he's going to try to find a way to get better, even while he's not in front of us, you know, every day on the mat. So, it's hard, right? It is. It's hard. You know, you as a coach, you want to take that control and see progress. But I was very much at peace, especially as he went on, that he had a great situation to continue to be, you know, close to the sport and get better.
Devin, what's it like to have that kind of trust from your head coach? Yeah,
for sure. And it's important just to be open and honest with just as an athlete with your coach, and that's just a relationship we've established. It was tough for me because I wanted to keep training and get better, but also wanted to. It's just a great opportunity I had to capitalize on. So, but I felt comfortable enough, and coach felt comfortable enough where I was able to go to Ohio this summer. I got set up in a great environment where I was able to consistently wrestle with some of the guys over there. I had some great training partners, and it was an awesome experience, and that's just part of the thing. We stayed in touch all summer, talked about how I was going, but they were doing what I was doing. So it was able to work, but it wouldn't have been able to work if we didn't have that trust and relationship with each other. So
it's a big deal. That's a big deal. Anything else? What was the coolest part of your internship? Was there something specific that you did that stood out?
I got to climb up on top of an oil tank. I guess that was pretty cool. The steps up on so I got to watch the tank cleaned out. So it was a cool experience. It was I'll remember it forever. Working Marathon Petroleum, it was a big company, obviously. So it was really cool. Learned a lot, gained a lot of professional experience, and it'll help me in the long run for sure.
Hey, the one thing I'll say here, I know we're probably getting close down towards the end, but this is one good thing I really appreciate about Devin too. And you see he's wearing the hat, but he is all things professional sports of Michigan.
Holy moly,
my man has taken a lot of punishment.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? And after the start, the Lions and even the Vikings got off too. I texted him one day and I was like, hey man, I'm sorry. And he says, man, it's just making me mentally tougher. So, you know, it's probably why he's having success to some degree on the mat. He's a very mentally tough guy. He's had to put up with the Lions and the Tigers and everything else that is Michigan professional sports. So
you did have a good run with the Pistons though in your youth.
Yep.
Motor City was good to you for a while.
When I was 7 years old, we were pretty good. So
it can't be that long ago. I refuse to believe it.
Hey, you know what though? the NFC North is having a tough time, but at least you guys aren't the NFC East. You've got that going for you.
That's true. We'd be tied for first in the NFC East. So
that is a wow. That is a dumpster fire. That's the definition of a dumpster fire. What are they? 3-12-1? Is that what it is, Corey?
Yeah, that's what the combined are. Yeah.
Combined
three wins in the whole conference.
3 wins in the whole division.
Oh Lord!
It's tough being
the leader, the tied for first is 1-3.
1-2-1. That tie.
Apologies. Sorry, we had the Eagles got their tie right.
Yep.
Stellar. That's
the 49ers had to have no Garoppolo and no Boza to get the win. So
and no Mostert. Don't forget. Come on.
That's right. You're
Tony.
right. Yeah, you're right. Mostert. Don't forget about the Purdue guy. I hear you.
Dude is fast. He's real fast.
Purdue track and field. There you go.
A lot of really good stuff today. Corey, you got anything else for Devin?
No, man. Just it's a pleasure watching you work. Just keep it up, and can't wait to see the season, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate everything you do for us in the program. So
hopefully we got another. Hopefully we got some good van trips in this year, D-Schroder.
Oh yeah, yep.
I love the fact Devin is a fixture in the back of my van on
Thank
road
God.
trips, and I dig that about him. He gets all the way in the back, finds that little spot to curl up into, throws his headphones on
every time.
But he's always back there when I need him. If I need something, I can speak up and
when you're lost driving around the neighborhoods, he'll chime in.
Absolutely. Him and Max, man, those are my mainstays.
There you go. That's two sharp guys.
Good to have the smartest guys in the team in your van for sure.
Absolutely.
Guys, I think we'll leave it there today. Great discussion. A lot of fun stuff, and maybe when we get back together in a couple weeks, we'll have some more details to talk about and do a catch up on how practice is going so far. Since like you said, Tony, that kicks off real soon this weekend.
Yep. Saturday, October 10. It'll bring a tear to my eye a little bit because we were supposed to be doing practice on the patio. There was supposed to be home football, and it was Saturday start of practice. So we were going to roll the mats outside in the football stadium. So I'll have a little tear in my eye. But nevertheless, we're starting our season, and I'm pumped. So let's get to Saturday, boys. Let's
do it. We'll guys, enjoy it. Enjoy it, like you said. Saturday, you get to wrestle. So we'll leave it there. We'll see you next time on the Always Aggressive podcast. Boiler up.